History claims one man was richer than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates combined. His name was Mansa Musa. The internet says he was worth $400 billion. But here's the problem. No one can explain who calculated that number or how. And if the number is wrong, then the most famous fact about African history might actually be a modern myth. This is not just a story about the past. It is about how viral history is created. It is about how modern people project modern ideas onto ancient worlds. And it is about whether wealth can even be compared across completely different economic systems. Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire in the early 14th century. His empire stretched across much of West Africa, including modern-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, and Niger. Mali sat at the center of trans-Saharan trade routes. Gold, salt, and ivory moved through its territory. This made Mali powerful, influential, and wealthy by medieval standards. Many people assume Mali meant unlimited gold. That is not accurate. Mali was a major supplier of gold, not the owner of all gold. Gold in the 1300s was not money in the modern sense. There were no banks, no stock markets, and no global financial systems. Gold was a trade medium and a symbol of power, not a balance sheet figure. Today, wealth means net worth, assets minus liabilities, liquid value, and market price. In the medieval world, wealth meant something else. It meant control of land, taxation rights, political authority, and loyalty. These two definitions are not interchangeable. Mansa Musa became famous because of one event. In 1324, he traveled to Mecca on pilgrimage. He traveled with a massive entourage. He carried large amounts of gold. In cities like Cairo and Medina, he gave gold as gifts and charity. Local observers were stunned. Arab historians described Mansa Musa as unimaginably rich, but they were describing shock, not calculation. They recorded what they saw, not what they measured. They did not know the size of Mali's economy. They did not know Mansa Musa's personal assets. They recorded impressions, not data. Someone being amazed by wealth does not equal a calculated net worth. A traveler seeing luxury does not mean they understand an empire's finances. Eyewitness reactions are not economic records. This distinction is often ignored. No medieval source assigns Mansa Musa a dollar value. No historian calculated his wealth in modern currency. The $400 billion figure comes from modern blogs and viral summaries. It is an estimate without a formula. It is repeated because it sounds impressive, not because it is accurate. Mansa Musa controlled gold production and trade. He taxed merchants and regulated routes, but he did not personally own all of Mali's gold. He could not sell the empire. He could not convert territory into cash. Control is not the same as ownership. A modern president controls economic policy, but that does not mean the president owns the nation's wealth. The same logic applies to medieval rulers. Political power does not equal personal net worth. Compared to medieval Europe, Mali was extremely wealthy. Compared to the global economy, it was one major player among others. China and South Asia had larger economic systems. Mali was powerful, but it was not the center of the global economy. The global economy in the 1300s was very small. There was no industrial production. There was no mass consumption. Converting medieval output into modern dollars creates meaningless numbers. It gives the illusion of precision without real accuracy. African history was long ignored or minimized. People want a dramatic counter-narrative. The richest man ever, is simple and viral, but exaggeration is not respect. Understanding real achievements is more powerful than repeating inflated claims. His greatest legacy was not gold, it was investment in education. He funded mosques, universities, and libraries. Timbuktu became a center of learning. Knowledge outlasts money. So if Mansa Musa was not literally richer than modern billionaires, why is he still remembered as one of history's most powerful rulers? And how does modern wealth actually compare when measured correctly? So if Mansa Musa was not worth $400 billion, what kind of wealth did he actually possess? And how does that power compare to modern billionaires in real terms? Modern billionaires exist inside documented systems. Their wealth is tied to stocks, companies, and financial records. Every share has a price. Every asset can be tracked. This makes modern wealth measurable, even if it fluctuates. Mansa Musa lived in a pre-modern economy. There were no balance sheets, no national accounts, no GDP records, no personal ledgers. What survives are descriptions, not calculations. It is often said that Mali controlled half of the world's gold. Even if this were true, control does not mean ownership, and global gold supply does not equal global wealth. Gold only has value relative to the size of the economy using it. In the 14th century, the global economy was extremely small. Most people lived at subsistence level. There was no industrial production. There were no consumer markets like today. Even vast gold reserves existed in a low-output world. Modern dollars represent industrial economies, mass production, and global trade networks. Medieval gold existed in a completely different system. Converting one into the other creates numbers without meaning. Many claim Mansa Musa collapsed Egypt's economy. The reality is more limited. Gold prices temporarily dropped in Cairo. Markets adjusted. Within years, stability returned. This was disruption, not economic destruction. True economic power reshapes systems permanently. Mansa Musa's gold caused a short-term shock. It did not restructure the Mediterranean economy. That distinction matters. Modern billionaires can move capital instantly. They can influence governments. They can shape global communication platforms. They can own intellectual property used worldwide. Their power is scalable and transferable. Mansa Musa could not digitize wealth. He could not invest globally. He could not influence distant governments. His power stopped at the borders of his empire. This was territorial power, not global leverage. Mansa Musa represented symbolic wealth, gold, generosity, and spectacle. Modern billionaires represent functional wealth, capital that moves, multiplies, and compounds. These are different forms of power. Mansa Musa remembered because he broke expectations. A powerful African empire contradicted European narratives. His story survived because it was exceptional, not because it fit modern economic definitions. His true strength was institutional: education, religion, administration, trade regulation. These systems outlasted his gold. After Mansa Musa, Mali weakened. Succession struggles followed. Trade routes shifted. Political unity fractured. Gold alone could not prevent collapse. Modern billionaires dominate global systems. Mansa Musa dominated a regional world. Both were powerful, but their power operated on different scales. Direct comparison is misleading. Was Mansa Musa richer than modern billionaires? No, not in measurable net worth. Was he one of the most powerful rulers of his time? Yes, without question.
The lesson is not that Africa once had the richest man ever. The lesson is that Africa built complex, wealthy societies early in history. That truth stands without exaggeration. When myths are removed, history becomes clearer, not weaker, and understanding real power is more valuable than chasing imaginary numbers.